Okay, and welcome back to Sorcery. Now, my only goal right now is to figure out how to get some rations with my last 2 gold before I lose them. That's all. And to not lose anything else, like my magic chain or the rest of my teeth or whatever else comes along. So, I need to figure out where the place you can buy things would be. There's an artist quarter, mansion row, festival of thieves. Might have something. Gardens probably won't. Fallen quarter sounds like the slums. Necropolis is the cemetery. Halls of Lada sound like the high class area. Purview Square, Docks Hill, Dwarf Town. Alright, so Festival of Thieves. That sounds exactly like how you're going to find food before you lose your money. We can't trust anybody. We can't trust anybody. So we're going the long circuitous route, so if anybody's following me, I'm going to lose them. You strike out across the fields away from the path, heading towards the rising land and the river. Somewhere in the center of Carre are the docks, a busy place that will hopefully help you in your search for the city nobles. You crest the rise where the grass has grown thin, then pause at the sound from behind you. It's the quiet shh of a dagger drawing from a sheath. We are going to find a spell. Let's see what spells we have to work with. We've got L, J, S, and Y. Oh, we have S. His will to win is lost. Let's see. There was an S I wanted to use before that I thought would be useful. Yob. S. Sucks. So, 6 probably would be helpful. Because I can't cast any of these. So we'll go with 6. S. I. X. You cast the spell and 5 clones step out from behind you on either side. You hear whoever is behind you grasp with horror, and then you hear their footsteps running off through the fields. Fuck you guys. Fuck you, there are now 6 of me! Follow the path. Into the festival. Can we buy anything here? The path winds through fields, passing an orchard on one side. The trees are dying and bare of apples. On the other, muddy fields, across muddy fields, you see the colors of flags of a festival. Then the view is shrouded by tall fences on either side. Look at the fences. You pause to look at the fences. The fields they contain seem ordinary enough, but for some reason the fences themselves are 2 or 3 times your height. There are no ladders to climb over that you can see, and no gates. A spell might be helpful here. Look through the fence. Peering through the fence, you see a square field of very long grass, which seems to be ungrazed and which no one has cropped in a long time. Anything might be hidden in there. Do I have the same spells available? Seems like it just changes on a whim. Yes, it does. HZSTB. HZSTB. S again. How? There's nothing that's going to help me that I can cast. They say there was a B. There is a B. You cast a spell, grow 3 times your normal size, easily tall enough to see over the fences, but there's nothing in the fields they contain except for some long grass. Doesn't seem so long anymore. Step over the fence. The giant spell fades, leaving you standing in a field of grass that comes up almost to your neck, surrounded by on all sides by a tall fence. The field appears to be empty. You crouch low and feel around the grass, seeing if there's anything hidden. Suddenly, something grabs your wrist, holding you down slow. Down low. Draw my sword. You go for your sword, but you cannot move your arms. You're now fully held, being pulled down pulled down towards the earth. Well, Mr. Ape, you begin a prayer to Ape and feel the grip on your legs loosening. You waste no time and hurry up the fence like a spider. Well, that was very unfortunate. Looking back, the field looks like nothing but a field of grass. If it weren't for the red marks on your wrists, you believe you'd imagined the whole affair. Yep, that was unfortunate. You emerge into a wide road that leads up a gentle slope toward a cliff edge. Look at the cliff. You turn to look at the cliff, which rises suddenly out of the middle of the fields. Along its ridge is a line of finer buildings, though most have fallen into rack and ruin. Looking down the hill, you see a few distant buildings, and beyond the point where 3 roads into Carhay diverge. Time to move on. Whoa! What's going on here? Woo! Okay, we'll just do it this way. You turn back towards the south wall and follow the main road through the fields. After a short while, you notice a smoking fire pit. Narrow track leads to the right. Fire pit. Whoever was there only left recently. Is there enough food there? Look along the track. In the distance, you see more buildings. One of the ghettos. One building looks quite grand. Road downhill, the fire pit. If there's any food at this fire pit, man. You clamber over the fence and strut across the field toward the fire. Wonderful smell of cooked pork on the air, and the ground is covered in scraps of meat, but there's no one here. Nothing offered to buy. Take a moment to look around the base of the fire. From the churned mud and footprints, it's clear there are several people here until not long ago. Suddenly, from behind you, there is a snuffling sound. Something else has been attracted here by the sound. A wolfhound. Oh, dear Lord. You know what? I'm just going to let you take one. And then I'm going to smack you. Ah, shit. Oh! Damn. 2 stamina. We'll go with 2. Digging into the mud, you unearth a curved shard of crystal. Curious, it can't be part of a jewel about the size of the shape of your cup palm. It's also lethally sharp, so you leave it here. It can't be part of a jewel? Okay. Well, that's too bad. You leave the road and follow the path as it winds through the fields along the lower edge of a high fault in the rock. As you pass, you see a few creatures working the land, pulling up voluminous weeds that grow around their tiny fruit and vegetable plants. In some patches, tethered goats graze and have eaten everything green in sight. The whole place seems to be barren and poor, like it has not rained for a year or more. You stride into the fields, approaching one of the farming figures. Its face is obscured by a wide flat hat, but you can tell it is not human. It's strangely gangly with long insect-like arms. Hanging back, you notice the farmer's forearms are also sharp-edged. He's using them to scythe the long grass, slicing through stalks with one limb and gathering them up in the other. The creature looks like it could cut your throat just as easily. You creep back through the path, leaving it undisturbed. Yeah. Let's see what else is up here. Stay on the path until it climbs gently. Look at the building. Stop to look at the building. It is a tall 3-story mansion crumbling around the edges now, but it must have once been home to a powerful and important family. It is surrounded by wide grounds, an ornamental garden now overgrown and tangled. The house is bordered by a tall stone wall broken at the path. On the far side, you see an ironwood gate hanging off its hinges. Yeah, check out the house. Maybe they have food. Clamber over the wall into the grounds of the house. You are surrounded by a thicket of gorse and thorny gripweed, and through the branches, you can see lower floors of the building. You search a thorn patch and find a heart of a small statue of a fat, cheerful-looking god with a third eye in the middle of its forehead. Examine the idol. Looking more closely, you see there are small depressions on the surface of the stone. On the 2 eyes, the forehead, and the nose. Gently touch the forehead. Nothing happens. If I leave it, can I come back to it later? Left eye. Left eye. Gentle light begins to glow. Right eye. Forehead. The mouth clicks open. The mouth drops open. Kiss the statue. You lean in to kiss the statue on its open mouth. Some kind of liquid spits between your lips and you leap back, clutching your throat. But it does not seem to be poison. In fact, a moment later, you are feeling much stronger. You thank the god for its kindness and make your way carefully out of the thorn bush. You have found one new clue, and another clue has been updated. Cool. Where's my clues? Items? Magic items. Keys, weapons, clues. 4 nobles know the spell. The first noble knows all. Ritual of Kurja. The ritual of Kurja, not courage. Kurja begins with the left eye, moves to the right eye, then touches the forehead. Yep. Vic. Man named Vic runs several businesses. Sometimes. Glandragor and Vic were comrades together once. Right, Glandragor was the guy outside. Vic, I don't know. First noble knows all, 4 nobles know the spell. Man, I am totally going to lose all my shit. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to upgrade my weapon or get more food. It's like, nope. You stride up to the middle of the yard when suddenly something knocks into you from behind. Of course it does. Sending you sprawling across the dirt. You spin to see a giant bat towering towards you. Its wide, bloodied talons. You know what? There's one in here that I haven't used yet. That would be useful. Law. How about, can I use law? I want to try law. I haven't done that one yet. Tell me I have an L. I do not have an L. P, D, little M, little G. I can do another DAWs. Casting a spell while wearing the black face mask will create a terrible fear. The brave creature will suffer a cold sweat. Interesting. We are going to do another DAWs, because DAWs is very useful. It's also like the only thing I can ever cast. Let's see, D, O, Z. You cast a spell and bat begins to move extremely slowly. You draw your sword and engage. No stamina. Lost. Bat falls to the ground. Turn to face the house. The front door is wide open as 2 men stand imposing. The front door is as wide as 2 men and stands imposingly sealed. From inside the door, you notice a small drinking fountain still bubbling with water. You stride up to the house. Knock on the door. No one answers. Knock again. You knock a second time louder. You wait to see if you will be answered, and you notice a curious detail. There are deep grooves carved into the wood of the door, radiating outward from the keyhole. It's as though something had exploded out through it, or perhaps attached itself on the outside to force its way through the lock. A slate skitters off the roof and smashes on the ground to one side of you. Look through the keyhole. You drop to your knees and put your eye to the keyhole. At first you can see nothing, and then the darkness inside begins to take shape. You make out a long, lonely hallway running back to the house. The walls are lined with framed pictures and the surfaces with expensive ornaments. It doesn't look like the house has been emptied at all. A wooden rail runs along the inside of the hallway. There is something on the roof. And the lock's been exploded, but everything's still inside. Which means there's a trap. You turn around and go back down the steps. This place is old and ruined and has no doubt been robbed. No. No, that's not what I meant to do. No. You're not going to give me the option to go back again. Are you going to make me do the bad again? Yep. Alright, fine. Okay. So, we're back here now. And I'm really... See, frames and surfaces are lined with expensive ornaments, and the hole has already been opened, which tells me that the door is somehow locked and magically locked. So we'll try the magic unlock button spell. You waste no time on the lock. Once you have woven your spell, the door opens and reveals a dark hallway. You step inside the house. A cold silence descends, quite different from the dusty heat outside. This place feels like it has not been lived in for decades, although judging by the lack of dust, it may not have been quite so long. Floorboards creak underfoot. At the end of the hallway is a sealed door. Is that a chink of light just beneath the frame? The light beneath the floor flickers, now bright, now faint, as though a figure paced back and forth. Make your way along the corridor. The walls on either side are lined with large portraits of dusty-looking men and sour-faced women who sneer at you. The figures in the paintings are all finely dressed, but they have knife scars on their faces and nicks on their ears. These must be the thief kings of Carhay's murky past. Past a large metal coal scuttle sitting against the left-hand wall. You stop and look inside the scuttle, but the inside is blackened, and in the darkness it seems as though an infinitely deep pit was contained inside. Put my hand in it! You are not afraid. You reach into it. It feels empty, then your fingers touch something sharp, so sharp it stings. You feel the scuttle searching for the object, and you find it, earning another sharp prick. You know what? Keep feeling. You have a clear sense of something climbing up your wrist. What is it? In the darkness, you can see nothing, so you grope about with your other hand, trying to work what the creature is. A snake! Kill it! You raise your sword to kill the beast, but it has wrapped itself around your wrist and you cannot move your arms at all. You race out of the house. That was unfortunate. Alright, back to the... I don't even know what a scuttle is, but we're gonna leave it this time. Don't stick your hand into anything dark. You reach the end of the hall. It is only a short way from the entrance, but all is now in shadow. The only light comes from the gap around the frame and the door in front of you. More darkness wells to the right. You can just make out the first few steps of a flight of stairs leading upwards to the second level of the house. You push open the door and enter a wide, paneled room with thick carpet. It is a study of some kind. The source of the light under the doorframe becomes quickly apparent. Roaring fire burns in an enormous grate on one side of the room. You search around the room. The furniture is grand, carved and stained and inlaid with pattern of goblin bone. There are no possessions to be seen. No ornaments, no jewels, no treasure, or no sign of the owner. As if whoever lived here moved out. More likely, the place had been thoroughly robbed. With the door shut, you'd expect this room to be swelteringly hot, but like the rest of the house, it is icy cold. You go to the fire to warm your hands, only to find it emits no heat at all. Burns no fuel either. The enormous grate, large enough to roast a whole boar, is entirely empty of wood, ash, or coal, but the flames are nonetheless brilliant and as high as a man. Peering deeper at the base of the fire, you see there is definitely nothing burning there. The flames spring into life a finger's width above the grate. They are so bright you can make out nothing beyond, but it seems that the hearth goes back some distance. Step into the hearth! That sounds smart. Stealing your courage, you duck your head and step into the grate. The flames surround you, there are crackles whispering in your ears as though you stood in a pit of snakes, but you feel no heat. Your skin does not blister and your clothing does not ignite. You stand in the middle of the fire like some kind of demon and feel no ill effects at all. From here, you can see that the hearth extends backward much further than you might expect. Is it a tunnel? Or do you stand inside a trap, its jaws about to spring shut? Well, which is the one that tells me about traps? Might be the right time to check that if it's available. Sus. Is sus available? Am I allowed to use it? Am I allowed to use a spell outside of use spell? Okay, fine. You creep forward across the grate, through the flames and beyond into a low stone alcove hidden by the fire. The walls are made of solid slabs of stone and there is nothing here. No treasure, no secret doors. On the far wall are a strange set of markings, a series of long grooves like scratches radiating outward from the hole. Now can I cast Sus? S. S. U. There it is. You cast a spell and a calm voice enters your mind telling you there is no danger here other than the danger of boredom should you spend too long in this dead end. Check out the grooves. You run your fingers through the grooves in the stone wall. They are a lot like the grooves you saw around the keyhole of the front door. They have been carved lightly and roughly with a dagger point rather than a chisel, perhaps, but the small hole at their center is much more cleanly formed. You put a finger to the small hole and you cannot find the bottom of it, and it seems polished and smooth. It looks like the bolt hole you might find in the stonework of a fortress doorway, except for its position in the middle of a black wall. Keyhole. Insert a key. You try a key, but the hole is circular and there's no space for the key's teeth. Not that it could possibly have turned anyway. Alright, which one's the door one again? Dawes or something? I know it's a D. Let's just use all our magic. Stop. You cast a spell, but nothing happens. Perhaps it's not a door. Perhaps it is locked with a fearsome magic you cannot overcome. Oh, that's unfortunate. Emerging from the fireplace, you brush clean of soot, but there's none. Of course there's none. You're not going to let me go back there. That's unfortunate. We will go upstairs, and suddenly the stairwell begins to move. Is it a trap? Try to balance. You stop dead as the stair moves underneath you and try to balance. It's not easy. You are definitely rising in the air and curving around the bends in the staircase as you go. As you reach the top, you see a corridor appearing almost close enough to jump for. You wait a moment longer. The stair continues to rise. What will happen when it reaches the top? Will it crush you against the ceiling? No. You hold your nerve and wait a moment longer until the step reaches the top of the stairwell and then stops. You easily climb to the upstairs landing. I've seen Harry Potter. Whee! You look around. You're on upstairs landing. Library. It is dark, but at the far end, a pair of eyes stare back at you. Look at the eyes. Step forward boldly, your own eyes fixed on those across the room from you. They do not blink. They do not even move as you approach. Stare it out. You stop and try to stare the creature out. It is agonizing work. A minute goes by and still neither of you have blinked. Keep staring! You keep staring until your eyes begin to ache. The eyes do not react. Then you see why. They are the eyes of a large portrait that hangs on the far wall in shadow, but for a dim sunbeam falling through the gap of the roof above. Yeah, I knew that, but it wouldn't give me the option to just sort of walk up to it. The painting is of a proud and stern-looking man dressed in loose leather armor with a serpent emblem stitched along the length of one arm. Keep that in mind. That might be important. The painting fills the entire wall of the room and must be twice the height of the man who posed for its likeness. Look at the man. You step back a little to regard the man in the picture. The most striking thing about him are his eyes. Obviously. Cold and cruel, they seem to gleam with cunning and the will to survive. They are the eyes of a man who would harm you if it suited him, knowing full well what it was he did. Otherwise, he stands tall and proud, with one hand on the hilt of his sword and the other wielding a tiny dagger. Everything about him reeks of power and threat. Picture must be of the man that lived in the house. For anyone else, it would surely cast too long a shadow to live beneath. The eyes of the painting seem to follow you as you move. You raise a corner of the frame from the wall and peer behind it, but it's too dark to see. You grab the base of the painting between outstretched hand and then heft the frame off the hook that holds it to the wall. There is a moment when you think you have it under control, then you are holding the true weight of the picture and you begin to stagger backwards. Balance it! You backpedal across the room trying to keep your balance. The painting threatens to topple at any moment. If you can just get turned around, you'll be able to lean the painting against the wall. Left. You step backwards to the left, then bring the painting on the floor to rest safely against the opposite wall. You rub your arms with relief. Back of the canvas. With the painting tilted against the wall, you are able to slip around and look at the back of the canvas in the weak light that trickles through the door. It is unremarkable, with just a single inscription near the middle of the canvas. Theta, 7th noble of Carhe. The painting looks like a noble, all right. Or at least it looks like the painting of a noble would have made of themselves. But even if this was one of Titha's house, it looks like he has long since left. Perhaps he is dead. You look at the wall where the painting had hung, but there's nothing else of interest. Yes, but this is important. This Theta. That's a name we're going to need. See? New clue. Your turn to the top of the stairs. Bedroom. You step through a doorway into a simple bedroom. The bed is unmade and looks as though its owner left in a hurry. Personal effects are scattered all over the floor as if the place has been ransacked, which it probably was. A cane leans beside the bedside. You see nothing else of interest. The cane is a simple stick with a leather loop at the top to slip around the wearer's wrist. It does not look like any sort of weapon, and it does not appear to be magic. Take it! You take it, although you cannot think what it might be for. Hey, you never know. I might meet, like, the beggar who needs a cane, who is actually a mage in disguise who's going to give me some special clue. You never know. A second door leads further into the house, or you could return to the stairwell. The further door leads to the bathroom. There is nothing in it, not even a mirror, only a gap where one used to hang. The only fixture is an empty iron bathtub in the middle of the floor. Look under the bath. You crouch down and look under the bath. Something darts at your face and you leap back. Run my sword under the bath. You draw your sword and swipe it in an arc underneath. It comes away clean. No blood, no hidden treasure. Was a rat. I guess we're not doing anything else up here. Let's go downstairs. There doesn't seem to be any more discovered here. Return to the study room. So I can come back here eventually when I have more information. What if I put the cane in there? Keyhole. Insert the walking cane. You raise the cane and slip the tip into the small hole in the back of the fireplace. It fits perfectly. There is a click. For a moment nothing happens, and then very slowly the stones begin to move. The passageway is open to your left. You know, there you go. You peer through the strange passage, but can make out nothing but the darkness beyond. You'll have to go inside to find out what you have discovered. Secret room! Slipping through the narrow opening, you find yourself in a slightly wider space. The walls are cool stone and there are no windows, but the room is not dark. In one corner, an idol stands on a small shrine, lit by 2 candles which burn from thin, cold flames. This place reeks of death and decay. The shrine is covered in thin, blood-soaked strips of cloth. The shrine is poor and cheap, unlike everything else in the house. It seems to have been hastily built out of uneven stones and a plank of wood, and a small statue of a fat god that sits on has been molded from humble clay. Bandages are each an arm span long, run as deep as your thumb. Each is bloodied in 2 places, spaced a few finger widths apart. There are 30 or 40 such bandages here, running down from the shrine like streamers. Someone was injured for a long time. You glance behind you, suddenly terrified that the secret door might swing shut and leave you trapped in here. It must have been some local deity. The base of the statue is Kurga. We know Kurga. Inscription 4 red dots. You're starting to get the jitters down here. You have to squint. Give me back my eyes. Yeah. We already know about that. Something gleams from within the pile and you cover a silver badge of a noble of Karhe. Yeah, give me. The badge is solid silver and probably valuable. You place it carefully in your pack. There's nothing more to be seen in this terrible place. Run for it! What do we have? Look at the fountain. Let's look at the fountain. Fountain by the door is still bubbling. Cupping your hands, you drink a deep mouthful and feel much better. It's time to be moving on. You return through the front yard of the ruined house back into the main street. Horse is tied up outside the mansion. Dude, I'll take the horse. You approach the horse. It snorts nervously wary of your presence. You might be able to calm it or even talk to it with the correct spell. I don't have to talk to animals. That requires a wig of some sort. Here. Green-haired wig. I have no idea where I'm going to get a green-haired wig. I might have something else. Yeah, it's an attacking creature. Okay. Well, I don't have a green-haired wig, so I guess I'm not getting the horse. Just talk to it. You try a few words in the common tongue, and then a few whispered in more gentle language of your girlhood in Chawberry Wood. The animal listens with ears cocked, giving you a strange, distant look. But of course, it is just a horse. Still, it appears calmer. Maybe you have made a friend. Still the horse. Keeping your eyes fixed on the beast, you slip the reins from around the hitching post and hold them firmly. Then, in one movement, you pull sharply, bringing it around so you can jump onto its back. Hopefully, you will have better luck with that than the cart you stole outside Veritani. The horse, friendly or not, is having none of it. It whinnies loudly and rears into the air, and then, with you barely settled on it back, it bolts at terrific speed along the road, heading back the way it came. Hold on for dear life. You cling as best you can, trying to calm the beast as it stampedes along the outer streets of Karhe. You plunge madly through a market, past a shrine, down a wide ruined street. Just as you think you are doomed to crash into a building, something makes the horse startle and it leaps, throwing you to the ground. You land awkwardly. The horse whinnies and races away. Woohoo! We went on a ride. You're on a wide track just outside the outskirts of the fair. You limp towards the gathered crowd. People and creatures sprawl across the paths, and several tents have been erected, their poles joined together by lines of colorful flags. It's some sort of festival. You ease your way into the edge of the gathered crowd. It looks good-spirited and fun, and with so many people here, perhaps you will pick up useful information about the spellliners and the city nobles. Listen. You mill through the crowd, keeping your ears open for anything interesting. But most people in the center of the field are arguing over where to go next, or lamenting how many gold pieces they have spent. You might do better to have a closer look at something. I guess we'll go in. You walk to the north end of the fairground midway. The fair continues from here, and a road leads uphill. The place is full of bluster and noise. Huge members of the people crowd around the boxing ring. More clap their hands and stamp as they watch groups of dancers. Musicians, fighting, middle, and leave. I'm hoping to find some food. Push your way through the crowds to the very heart of the fair and look at the attractions. Beer tent, dancing bear. I'm gonna spend my money on beer, aren't I? One mug, one gold. 4 mugs, 6 gold. Talk to the bartender. Greetings, what can I do for you? Why are 4 mugs so expensive? Oh no, it's a special offer. You see 4 mugs for 6 gold pieces. That's more than buying separately. Oh, the goblin lady replies, I see your mistake. It's a common one. We should fix the sign. But she doesn't explain and quickly disappears to serve another customer. A tall, spindly creature raises his voice to announce he's buying 4 mugs. A huge cheer goes up, mostly from the one behind the bar. You pause to inhale the rich smell of brewed grains that hangs around the tent. It is quite nourishing. One of the bar women catches your smile. Nice, yes, she says, even nicer in a glass. Just then 2 creatures walk past. So you say he wasn't dead when they buried him, hisses the first. Not quite dead, the other replies. Enough undead that you could talk to him. Follow the conversation. You move away from the tent to listen to the creatures. Nobles, the first creature remarked. Why can't they just stay dead when they get dead? Couldn't agree more, the other replies. But at least they buried him anyway. One less noble for the boss to worry about. Creatures disappear into the guard. A noble who wasn't quite dead? If he knows a spell line, there must still be time to learn it. A stocky dwarf knocks into you briefly. Begging your pardon, he murmurs before slipping away into the crowd. Yep, there goes my money. You didn't like the look of that, so you leave the crowd and walk away from the tent. Looking back, you notice a pipe running from the tent directly into the Jahabi River. Seems the beer isn't beer after all. The fair spreads out around you like a collection of booths and rings and tents and stalls. Hawkmakers announce the various attractions at the top of their lungs. A general atmosphere is cheerful with a hint of violence. Yeah, there was nothing I could do. I knew he took my money, but my character wouldn't turn around and punch him for it. This game, you're just not supposed to have money or food. I swear, that's the whole point of the game, is to not have money or food and figure out how the fuck to survive on nothing. You cross the fair to join a crowd gathered at a safe distance around a dancing bear. A dwarf stands in front of the bear, holding a lead that is fastened to a ring in the creature's nose. See my beauty dance, he growls, jerking the cord. The bear stumbles around in obvious pain. As he tugs the cable, he plays a pipe with great gusto. The crowd are in stitches of laughter at the poor bear's performance. Yeah, I would free it, but in this city, I'd probably get robbed blind for trying. So, no. You hang around for a moment and watch, mostly curious to see if the bear will strike down its miserable little owner. Suddenly, a cry goes up from somewhere in the audience. My gold! My gold! Pickpocket! Beware, there's a pickpocket at work. No shit. You and the rest of the crowd spin around towards the voice and see a small creature darting away from the crowd into the tents. You elbow your way through the crowd, hoping to grab the pickpocket, maybe relieve him of his winnings, but there are too many people in the way. By the time you have pushed to the edge of the crowd, the little figure is vanished. Someone shouts, What's happening to the dwarf? You know what? I'm going after the pickpocket. You slip away, listening to the hue and cry as more of the crowd discover that they too have been robbed. Keep one hand firmly on your... I don't have any gold. Until you're back outside the crowd. Across the field comes a murmur of excitement. Then quite suddenly a small tornado lifts the tent sharply into the air and away. Top of the midway, end of the midway. Well, I guess I'm here, so I might as well go down here. You walk to the south end of the fairground. Small tent. 1 gold piece. What's inside? Marco the Amuser. He's funny. 1 gold piece. Yeah, I don't have any money. No offense intended, you reply politely and step away. From somewhere nearby, you catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure disappearing behind the tent. Something about the way it moves is familiar. You push through the crowd, following the dark figure into a narrow gap. Cautiously, you enter the narrow space, and suddenly there's a hand at your throat. I will kill you, breathes the voice you recognize. Laugh with pleasure. You laugh with delight. It's Flanker, the assassin whose life you spared before you reached Torpani. Greetings, you declare enthusiastically. Flanker nods. He does not smile, but he seems pleased to see you. Ah, my friend and enemy. I see, like myself, you also enjoy the fun of the Festival of Thieves. And you look as hale as the moment you left me. Your journey has been uneventful so far, I trust. And how have you fared in Karhe? The city is full of devils. Flanker laughs and nods. It is indeed. At least you have not had to face the portal traps. They will take your smile and move it to your throat, as we assassins say. Portal traps? Flanker laughs. Do not fear. You have not missed out. You have only survived this far because all the traps are on the other side of the river. He pauses to glance around, as if we were waiting for something, but if so, he does not see it. I have a few minutes, he says. Tell me of your quest. How goes it? I fear I will never escape Carhay. Flanker nods. The north gate is locked, his brows knit together like crossed swords. I do not know if the citizens of this city, or who would be able to help. Have you found anything out yourself? I need to find a beggar who was a noble. Ah, blind Theta. I have heard he wanders the wastelands in Upper Carhay, north of the river. There's an area where the city has collapsed where beggars and ne'er-do-wells gather. You could try there. I also need to find the other nobles. I was told by an old man that they're the only ones who know the spell for Northgate. Flanker nods. Indeed, this is true. It is a tricky problem. Perhaps you might appeal to the god. One of the gods. Which god? Hey, gods are not worthless. My god has helped me several times. Ish. Slang is not strong enough for such knowledge, I think. Though you could try his shrine between the well and the docks. Blanker replies somewhat carelessly. Otherwise, Korga would know, but his temple is by the north gate. He nods finally. But I must be away. Perhaps I will see you later. I will be drinking at the Wayfarer's Rest tonight in the docks. Join me if you will. You nod to Flanker and return to the main throng. Awesome. Lots of information. You approach a boy. Standing by a barrel and looking sheepish. What are you selling? Boy points in the barrel. Look in the barrel. You peer into it and see apples. Ooh. Your apples are all rotten. The boy shakes his head and picks one up from the barrel. He squeezes it hard, but nothing happens. Then he drops it sharply back into the bucket. Why don't you speak? The boy shrugs. How much is an apple? Boy holds out a single finger, and all 5 on the other. 1 gold for 5 apples? I don't have any money. He picks an apple and throws it at you. The impact is surprisingly painful, like being hit by a rock. Well, I don't have any money. Sorry, kid. I was robbed. I couldn't do anything about it. North End. There's a magician. You head over to the crowd where a troupe of dancers who spin and swirl in time to a lively tune. There's something hypnotic. Yeah, I'm not watching that. The crowd seem to be enjoying themselves a little too much. You slip back. Yeah, you do that, you're gonna get robbed. You cross the fairground to a wrestling ring. A ruffian inside is announcing the current challenge. People of Carhay, are you ready for a fight? In the white corner, we have our challenger, Anvar the Barbarian. Crowd cheers and whoops. You attract the attention of a crowd. Tell me, what are the rules? No rules. That's what makes it so entertaining. No weapons. That's the only rule. And in the other corner, Skull Splitter, the ogre. Anvar is about half as tall as you, with sheets of muscle on his arms and legs. But he is probably lighter than the ogre, which means he has less momentum. Challenger, are you ready? Demands the ruffian. Anvar nods and beats his chest. The ogre looks as thick as any ogre you might meet, but is made of solid muscle. His arms and legs are like twisted bark of trees. On the platform, the ruffian turns to the ogre. Champion, are you ready? Beast appears not to understand the question, but scratches his armpits. The ruffian nods. Who can challenge, you ask? The man shrugged. Anyone crazy enough to want to get their head smashed in? The ruffian steps to the center of the ring and drops his arms. Let the fight begin! The crowd roars ready for the fight. The barbarian in the white corner growls and beats his chest. The ogre raises his fists into the air and shakes them. Quite a lot of posturing so far, but not much actual wrestling. You hang back and watch. The ogre roars with rage and powers forward against the barbarian, landing a mighty blow. Now the ogre looks on good form, but then the barbarian comes back with an unexpected thump. I could help one of them win if I wanted. You can't look away. Finally, it's over. The single throw, Skull Splitter, the ogre throws Anvar the barbarian clean out of the ring. Crowd goes wild. Inside the ring, a master of fight raises the ogre's fist in the air. Who challenges our champion? The prize is 10 gold. Yes. Please tell me I can use my biggie on it. Or summon my own ogre. Either of those. Ready? Damn it, I can't do either. Look over the ogre. He is a hulking brute like all ogres, a creature who could almost be made out of stone. In the back corner, then, the ruffian announces, is Skull Splitter. In the white corner, the ruffian turns to you and hisses, what should I call you? The Stranger. The Stranger! The ruffian pulls a blank face. It's not very exciting, but all right. To the crowd, he bellows. And in the white corner, today, fresh from who knows where, please welcome to the ring, the Stranger herself. And then throws you a sidelong glance before he scarpers from the ring. The crowd begin to furiously place bets. You can hear them discussing your relative merits. She looks feeble. Looks like a maniac to me. You ready your fists. How do I use magic in the middle of a... He only has 7 stamina. Block. Okay. The ogre raises his fists and makes a roaring noise. Take out his knees. How do I use items? Damn it. Not enough. Three lost. We'll go with that. You stagger from the ring, the crowd cheering for you, and collect your winnings. 10 gold. Not going to have that for very long. Let's see, what do I have left in the fair? End of the fair, leave the fair. End of the fair. Oh, can we go back for some of those apples? Let's see if I can go back for those apples. No? Nope. No apples. You push your way through the crowd, following the road uphill. The party is getting wider, and you would do well to be away from here before things get out of hand. At the far edge of the fair, the litter has left a tide mark on the grass. That sentence made no sense. The litter has left a tide mark on the grass. There is one last small tent here, probably a ticket booth that's simply been ignored by the crowds. Look at the small tent. Look more closely. Cabinet of Fortune. Try your luck. A prize for all. Look back. You see what tents going up in flames. It must be part of the entertainment as no one seems concerned. Ahead, road continues through the empty fields. You have time to test your luck if you wanted. Sure. How much is it going to cost me? You go over to the tent and push back the flap. Inside, a grubby bearded man leaps up from where he was sitting cross-legged on the floor and comes over to pump your hand. Welcome, welcome, my friend, he exclaimed, somewhat over-enthusiastically. And let's see what prize you can win today. You must know this. There are no losers at Honest Hannah's Cabinet of Fortune. He gestures with one hand towards a large glass cabinet in the center of the tent. Look inside the cabinet. You step forward and peer in the glass. Inside there are piles of jewelry, books, gold, and other things, as well as a small wiry creature curled up fast asleep. What's the creature? It's my little pet. He's perfectly harmless. Well, he bites, but only when you open the cabinet to feed him. What do I do? It's a most simple game. You give me 2 gold pieces, and my little pet will fetch something for you. Is there a useful spell? Door. Trap. Giant's Tooth. Healing. I lost a healing potion somewhere with that dwarf, too. Okay, no spells I can use, so sure. Pay him. 2 gold pieces! And he goes over to the cabinet and presses a small button on the side. It seems to operate a cantilevered spike, which pokes the creature, who squeals, jumps from its perch, and begins fluttering inside the case. What now? Now you try to influence its choice by shouting at it. The angrier you can make it, the better the prize, usually. I'm not sure why. As if to make a point, the creature picks up a ruby ring, then smiles and drops it and flies to the top of the tank. Shout something. Although it does not seem very fair, you determine to infuriate the creature as much as possible. Freedom! The creature at the top flanks around gently. What else should you try? Hana! It's still flying around with glowing eyes. There must be something that will get this creature to see red. Karhei! It's flying in circles furiously. Eventually, the creature selects something from the prize pool, which drops to the chute. Take my prize. You remove a bamboo pipe. It will do. Good. There was something in here that needed a bamboo pipe. Bamboo flute. Dancing. Alright. Probably used up when it's done. So, looks like we're done with the fair. And this would be a good place to stop, because I'm going up into Mansion Row up next. I still haven't found any food, but I got a bamboo pipe and 8 gold. So, win-lose situation. Anyway, see you next time.